Before we start with any questions, I think this is the opportunity right now to talk about putting things in perspective. You know, what's going on at Florida State, ongoing with the lives lost, and it's still going on. I just want to send thoughts, prayers that things are handled speedily, and that we can just continue to pray for those that have been impacted by this, to understand that lives are more important and human beings are more important than a basketball game or a playoff series at any given time. And that's what we need to continually and remember in these moments right now.
Jamal, it seems like on that point, we've had this conversation too often this year. Just what kind of message do you want maybe your team, this community to hear in a time like this?
It's about coming together. It's about finding the human being in everything we do, because lives are being lost and have been lost. And I think we play a game of basketball, but I think the faster we can understand about coming together as human beings, the better things can be. And it's how things heal. It's how you connect with people is the most important thing, and finding a way to share and spread love versus the other side of it.
Do you talk about that with your team?
We talk about a lot of things, and us being a tied together, close-knit group, we celebrate each other. And I think that's what it starts. It doesn't have to have tragedy to be able to talk about the things that you're grateful for in life. And we do that often to celebrate each other, to celebrate this community who constantly supports us, and that we are blessed and privileged to be in this situation, because not everybody has that. So our ability to not take it for granted and to appreciate the small, minor blessings that we have, you want to have that every single day and every single morning that you're given the opportunity to wake up.
Coach, on the court, what were some of the focuses of practice today? How does your team start getting ready for Boston?
Well, switching gears to the court, we were able to just focus on the early side of what we want to do for our offensive execution. It was more of an execution day, a shooting day, diving into that side of it, how they guard, what we're going to see, how they're going to manipulate their defense in order to stop us, some of the things we'll see and what we've seen in the past with them. So it was more of an offensive execution day, shooting day, being able to break those pieces down.
What stands out about just preparing to execute offense? What stands out about their defense? And really much to talk about their offense and ability to get threes up, but what stands out about the way they defend and how difficult they are to break defensively?
I mean, they're top five in a lot of areas. Their rim protection, their switching, how they switch, their isolation defense. So they don't allow you to create many advantages. So you have to find the right advantage at the right time, and you can't miss the opportunities when you have that advantage. Turning down shots is not something that you want to look to do, because they do a great job of loading up. They've got a veteran team that they do a great job of communicating with one another and finding where the holes are, where the gaps are, and they just make plays that aren't necessarily called out. They just make the veteran experienced play within these situations.
When you look at their four perimeter defenders, Tatum, Brown, White, Holiday, how often do you see a team with that number of great perimeter defenders?
It's very rare. And there is a reason why they are the defending champions, because they have those pieces, and those pieces have been together for quite some time. You go back and look at some of their series from last year, what they were able to do and how they were able to defend and disrupt teams. I think Coach Joe's done a tremendous job with those guys of continuing to fight and buy into exactly how they need to defend and how they're supposed to play.
How much can you lean on the road success you guys have had, especially late in the season?
I think you have to understand that you're able to, win on the road. And I think that's something that we've talked about. We've communicated. Our guys understand what the environment's going to be. And it's a different environment in Boston. And we know how loud it's going to be. We understand how those fans are and how they root and support their team. And we've got to be able to embrace that, but understand that we're capable of doing that on the road.
spoke a little bit about the defensive acumen that Boston has accumulated. Offensively, they have a ton of firepower as well. How do you simulate that in practice over the next few days?
I mean, you understand what they're trying to accomplish, the shot quality they're trying to create. How do you disrupt that in moments? Being able to find the small pieces, how we guard individually first, and then the second piece is what are we trying to take away and what are we living with? I think those are things you have to decide early on because this team can beat you in a lot of ways. Understanding what we're willing to live with is going to be very important.
What is your relationship like with Joe Missoula, and what kind of basketball mind is he as a coach?
Joe is an excellent basketball mind. We've spent time in the summer quite a little bit, just being able to just talk and have nice dialogues at Coaches Association meetings, seeing him in Vegas a few times, but just a great basketball mind. And for, they talked about him being young and winning his first championship. I think he's handled it with an unbelievable amount of grace and resiliency and toughness for someone's first time. And I think he's done a great job with that group of commanding and demanding respect, but for a group that has been together and him stepping in that moment. So he's a very good basketball mind for sure.
Last year, entering the playoffs, the majority of your guys have been in an NBA playoff game. Not so anymore. How much does that past experience from the jump help you right at the outset of this series?
And we talked a little bit about that today in our film session, being able to draw on the experience of it being a little bit more physical, it being a little bit faster, the crowd being a little louder. All of those things are that you didn't know going into it, just watching it on TV if you hadn't experienced it. But now we have a lot of guys in that room that have been there before and seen it. Now there's still going to be those first game jitters and of going through it in a different environment, but understand once that ball goes up, you've been in this situation before.
How much of a confidence piece is it having played your best basketball arguably going into?
I think it's incredible and it's so important for us to be able to, like we've said for some time now, almost over a month and a half to 2 months, that you want to be playing your best basketball in March, April, May, and June. But it started in March for us.
How important was the performance from the guys in the pool, guys coming off the bench, to have that confidence in this team?
I mean, it did so much for our game. It did so much for them, for being able to provide that spark when, they did a great job of honing in on, Franz and Paolo, and those guys still made the correct play. But for AB and Cole to come off of the bench and play the way in which they did with that level of confidence and the team to believe in what they've done because of how they worked all year says a ton for us moving forward.
Thanks, Jamal.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, your group's obviously prepping for a high-powered Boston team. As you guys went through practice today, kind of what was the focus? What are the areas that your group's honing in on?
A lot of just mindset. X's and O's are obviously important. Concepts and being in the right place, offense, defense, it's all important. But walking into Boston with the mindset that we're fully capable, and what we have to make this a series and to play good basketball. And so that's what we're focused on. We'll get more into the really gritty details as we move along, but just the mindset piece is big for us right now.
The challenge that Boston presents offensively with the window shooting, what's the biggest challenge of attacking this team when you guys have the ball in your offense?
I think pace is huge. Getting up and down the floor, just playing free, just playing basketball. Second and third side actions, keeping the ball moving, and being just in attack mode, attack mentality, and being able to find gaps and spaces to score the basketball.
Kind of on that point, you guys in Boston were the two slowest operating teams pace-wise throughout the regular season. How much importance and stress does that put on every single possession that you guys have the ball to capitalize on?
A lot, and I think that also gives us the opportunity, to play faster. Regular season is over with, so everything that has happened is gone, and so we can tailor ourselves to how we want to play this series, and I think faster is better for us. Moving forward into the series, so for sure.
When you talk about this series, the words challenge and opportunity have been used sort of interchangeably with this team. As you look back at the season, what have you learned about the way this team sort of approaches and seizes opportunities and has done this season?
I mean, I think it's just a part of our DNA and who we are. We've been thrown tough circumstances, throughout the entire season. Guys getting injured, guys going down, missing shots. Just we've had difficulty the entire season, and we find a way to battle through. We find a way to make something of this year when we could have easily let go of the rope. We could have easily made excuses and hung our heads. So I don't think it's something that we're trying to do. It's who we are. And so it'll be the same thing with this series. You know, people will say what they want to say, and you know, we'll find a way.
I know you said that you guys will get more into kind of the detail and nitty-gritty over the next coming days, but how do you guys plan to simulate the kind of offensive firepower that Boston has in practice and preparation for that?
I mean, a lot of it is film, right? It's like it's kind of hard with our practice squad to to simulate that. But a lot of it is film. A lot of it is just really attention to detail. And again, it's basketball. Like there's plays going to be made. They got guys that can score the ball, and so we'll just have to, you know, live in our concepts and what we're trying to do, and limit them as much as possible.
How much of a confidence boost is in having played arguably your best basketball going into the playoffs?
It's awesome. You know, I think we're playing really, really well right now. I think there's still another level for us, and I think we're going to find that in the playoffs here. But it's great. It's great to you know, I said something, you know, we started to shoot the ball better as of late, and I said, this is the time you want to shoot the ball better, you know, towards the end of the year, going into the playoffs, so it's perfect.
How important was it Tuesday night to see Cole get going, AB get going? You got some points around the basket, some rebounds. How important was it to get those bench players kind of moving and playing in a pressure game like that?
Great. You know, AB is a great player. Cole's a great player. We're going to need them to score the basketball in this series efficiently and effectively. And so to see them be able to turn it on and AB hit shots is huge. And so yeah, I'm excited to see what's going to happen.
What did you like about the way you and Wendell kind of dictated the tempo of Tuesday's game, and whether it was on the glass, offensively, defensively, just the impact that you guys provided?
Just great. That's what we have to do. You know, offensive rebounds are huge for us in this game. You know, probably be a lot of long shots, a lot of long rebounds. So rebounding the basketball offensively and defensively I think it's going to be a, you know, make and break part of the series in our favor. And so I'm excited for it.
Darnell, I know it's a completely different topic, but as someone who spent time at Florida State, can you talk about, you know, your thoughts today? I'm hearing the news what's going on up there.
Yeah, I actually just heard it right before this press conference. So my mind is kind of all over the place. Obviously, I don't have the details, but it's tragic, and you know, I'm sad about it. You know, I'm sad about anything that happens like this anywhere, but for it to happen at Florida State, you know, it takes a toll. It means a lot. And so, you know, I'll absolutely be praying for everybody involved, and hopefully everything gets cleared up soon.
What kind of message do you hope the community can hear in a time like this to try and get through something like this?
It's tough, man. It's, you know, the Bible says to grieve with those who grieve, mourn with those who mourn. And so during this time, it's not really a feel-good message and, oh, everything's going to be okay. It's man, we gotta get through this. It's hard. It's difficult. But just know I'll be praying and, you know, trying to help as much as I can.
How you doing, AB?
What up, man?
Good. You know, as your team preps for a big series ahead with Boston, what were some of the focuses of practice today? What are the things your group's trying to hone in on as you get ready for the Celtics?
I mean, today was really just about focusing on what we do, just offensively, what we want to run, and the things we feel like we can do to create an advantage. But yeah, I mean, just same thing we've been talking about all year. It's a great team, defending champs, but focus starts with us. So today we were locked in on what we needed to do, and yeah, we had a good practice.
Maybe we talked to you last week about, you know, this time last year you weren't necessarily in the everyday rotation. To have the performance that you had Tuesday in the playing game as kind of a teaser almost, what did that do for your confidence heading into the playoffs?
I mean, just kept it where it was. You know, feel like back half of the season I've been shooting the ball better, just playing better overall. So obviously that game was a must-win. So it's good to have a little bit of success in those games, but playoffs is different. So I'm ready for that too.
How important has this closing stretch been for you to kind of build confidence heading into the playoffs, and how big was it to see, you know, reserves, see you, see Cole, see CJ, see some of the others, see some of the other players step up in a big moment like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's big for everybody. Not just me, but like you said, everybody else on the bench, all the starters. We got to play a lot of minutes the last couple games to get up a lot of shots. So, I mean, it was good for everybody. It was good mentally for basketball. And then, yeah, I don't know. I mean, we finished out the season well. We got some momentum, so we're trying to keep that going in the playoffs.
Anthony, this time last year, very few of you had been in a playoff series before. You'll have that experience heading into game one this time. How much of an advantage is it to have that to draw?
Yeah, I mean, we feel more confident this year than we did last year. Obviously, having a year of playoffs under our belt. like we kind of know what to expect now. Obviously, we're playing a different team, which is another challenge. But just all the unknowns kind of got answered last year for the guys who played and didn't play. So I think we can use that this year to just come in prepared, for the atmosphere, the officiating, the intensity, and I think we'll be ready for it.
How much can officiating affect the game? How do you guys try not to let it as hard as that can be sometimes?
I mean, it really just depends on how much they want to impact the game. Yeah, however much they want to impact the game is how much they do. But it's our job as a team to just stay focused on the goal, which is not, arguing with the refs or bashing the refs or whatever. It's just winning. So that's something we talked about, something we're aware of. And we know we got to keep playing through any bad call, any mess up or whatever's gonna happen.
I know you said that you guys will kind of get more into the detail, nitty-gritty of looking at Boston more intently as this week goes on, but having played them a few times this year, seeing them elsewhere otherwise, what kind of impresses you the most about them?
Just their shooting. I think they shoot 50 to 55 threes a game, so it's tough, and they got a lot of dudes who can shoot the ball, so that's probably the biggest, their biggest superpower, and that's something we got to look to take away as the series goes.
We know about their shooting and how prolific their offense can be. And you guys mentioned focusing on offense today. What is it about their defense that's so challenging and finding an advantage and finding a way to score?
Just that they got a lot of size, athleticism, physicality out there at all positions. So they got good one-on-one defenders, but we got to move the ball, get back to the second, third side, and attack from there. And we trust in what we got in to go out and combat that.
You mentioned the physicality, the intensity of the playoffs. In what ways does that maybe bode well for a team like Magic that embraces the physicality game?
Yeah, I mean, it should be good for us. The refs should be calling the game a little bit lighter, so it should be a lot to play physical like most playoff games, most series. So for us, that's what we want. That's how we're taught to play here. That's just kind of what we believe in, and that's where our advantage is. So hopefully we can just go into the playoffs and maximize that.
You mentioned Boston having really good one-on-one defenders. You're somebody that takes on challenges at the point of attack as well. Just what goes into, or what characteristics do all good perimeter defenders share that become a lead at that?
I think first it just starts with effort. You got to want to defend. You got to just sacrifice, your own self to play defense. But I think some of the other things is just anticipation. It's like a little bit of gambling, anticipating, having good hands, sliding your feet, and knowing when to be physical and when to get your hands off. So,
do you kind of gain an appreciation for players that can do all of that you just mentioned?
Oh, of course. That's when star players play that way, it shows that they're dedicated to winning and that they're willing to put themselves to the side to win games. So it's definitely inspiring seeing the best players do it. If the best players are doing it, watching everybody.
When you look at that team, do you see a lot of similarities between you guys and them?
Personally, I do, just with the way our wings play and with the way their wings play. Four of probably the best players in the league, the four of them. So it's just a lot of similarities. Our team is built similar in ways, so it'll be fun to play against another team out there. Just another good team, honestly, a great team.
Thanks, Anthony.